Morning guys, welcome back to the vlog. So I got my bike back yesterday from Peter from Motorcycle Logic in Seaford. He's like the master bike dad of Victoria. He knows his stuff. He's a real wizard. He tuned my bike, so now it starts. It starts well. And there's a little bit of a ritual to starting the bike now. And so today it's my first time starting it in the morning from a complete cold start. So we'll see how it goes. Bye. No. Dude, come on man. Now we just let it warm up. So yeah, but the ritual is both choke on, we'll choke on both sides on, start it up, wait 5 or 10 seconds, choke off, and then it should just idle. Just then it was a little bit too cold, so it died, so then at that point leave the choke off, just blip the throttle a little bit. And as you can see, it's idling. A little bit slow at the moment because it's cold, but it's gonna warm up. And as it warms up, the RPM's gonna slightly creep higher. But I don't know what he did, but he made it look so simple, and he got the job done. So it really puts things. It's really got me thinking. Let's head back inside while the bike warms up. Let's head back inside and we'll have a little chat. So, owning a vintage bike is a money pit. We know this. I think I knew this getting into it. But just how much money have I spent on this bike? I have spent the past few minutes just going through all of my eBay purchases, going through all of my major purchases for the bike, all the times that I broke down, had to get towed, had to get it worked on at the mechanics, all the new pieces that we had to repair and replace, oh, it's a lot more than I thought it would be. So let's start from the top. Obviously, I don't regret riding motorcycles. I love riding motorcycles. So if it wasn't this bike, it would have been another bike. So with that taken into regards, I'm not going to count rego. I'm not going to count things like petrol or oil, because that's all part and parcel of owning a motorcycle. Okay. My bike, the 1980 KZ440. When I bought it for $4,000 Australian, and that's including roadworthy, and 12 months rego. Now, rego for a bike for 12 months will be around $700. So let's just say that I bought the bike for $3,300, including roadworthy. From then, the first thing I did to it was I bought a new chain. So that was $240. Sometime later on down the track, I had to get new tires. So to get 2 tires fitted and balanced, that was around $600. Shortly after I got new tires, like literally a day after I got new tires, my bike wouldn't start. And that was because my starter motor had failed. The magnets inside got loose and it just got crushed and the whole thing wouldn't start. The starter motor was around $450 off eBay. And I had to take it to the mechanics for them to fix it up. Mechanics fee from memory was around like $500. So I budgeted around $950 just for that exercise. That was a very expensive week. I recently had to buy a new battery for the bike. That was around $240 from memory. Recently I stripped, restored, painted and coated the fuel tank, which is now partially ruined. But the Caswell liner was $100. The KBS kit was $90, which I didn't need. I spent around, let's see, how much did I spend? I spent around $300 on paints and supplies. And I went through my receipts and I spent around $160 at Bunnings, just for miscellaneous things like getting paint thinners, brushes, paint scrapers, chains, that sort of stuff. I recently spent around $70 at Super Cheap Auto, just getting random parts, and $40 at A1 Motorcycles to get some spark plugs. So the tank cost me in total, let's see, the tank in total cost me around $730. Oh jeez, $730 for the tank. Plus or minus $100. Honestly, like, I could have just taken it into a shop and get it professionally painted. It would have been around the same price. The carbs. So I got some VM32 carbs from Mikuni Oz in Queensland. The kit that they sent me was $630, and recently I had to take it into Seaford, Peter at Motorcycologic, and that cost me around almost $500. So carbs itself was over $1,000, say $1,100. I went through my entire eBay history, and I picked out the items which were just bike parts. So I'm not counting anything like gloves, helmets, jackets, any gear, any consumables, because I would have bought them anyways on any other bike. So eBay had like a lot of really small purchases, like brake switches, fuel lines, helmet hooks, grips, indicators. I won't go through the entire list. With the indicators, I spent around $70 in total, because I bought the indicators twice, and both times they didn't work. I finally made the switch to halogen indicators, and I wish I did that way sooner, because they just plugged and played and I didn't have any issues. I bought a center stand. It was only $40, but it doesn't work. But I think I'm still going to use it. So center stand, that's right, $40. Headlight bracket, $60. Petcocks. I spent probably a total of $100 just on petcocks. So this is a fuel tap. My bike, when I first got it, the fuel tap was leaking, and it was really hard to find an exact replacement. So I just had to just try and order one in and see if it will fit, and if not, I'll try to return it. And sometimes it would be like, this is perfect, this is the perfect size, but the screws are too wide, or in this case, this fit perfectly, but the tubes were too small. It was a nightmare. So I wasted around $100 on that. I was also trying to rebuild the carbs, so I'd probably spend another $100 trying to rebuild the carbs, and then finally decide to replace them. Iron mirrors was $30. I bought a motorcycle jack, which was $93. So tallying everything, I spent around $832 on eBay products, and I can say confidently around 50% of these products, they weren't the right things, and I didn't end up using them. I've also spent around, and this is just going off the receipts I have, so I've probably spent way more, but let's just say I spent around $150 at the local bolt shop, just getting different bolts and nuts and miscellaneous things. And then all the times that my bike broke down and I had to get it towed or taken into the mechanics, which happened quite a lot. When I first got the bike, I wasn't exactly sure the ins and outs of it, and I think maybe 2 times my bike broke down and I didn't know why it wouldn't start, but turns out it just ran out of petrol. So all of the times that I've had it taken into the mechanics, I've tallied around $600, and this is excluding the start, when I had to get it repaired, starter motor and the carbs and all that stuff. So quite a lot. I knew that I spent quite a lot of money on the bike, but writing it all down, holy crap guys, I didn't realize I've spent this much. I thought that I've spent low $6,000 to $7,000. Tallying everything up, I've spent so far on my spreadsheet, and it's probably a low estimate as well, $8,755. I wouldn't be surprised if I've spent $9,000 on the bike so far, and it's not even finished. Coming up in the works, I need to get new brake shoes, so that's probably going to be, I'm going to take it to the mechanic, so that's probably going to be, let's say, another $400. At some stage I want to do a custom seat, and that's going to be probably another $400. I need new pod filters and a breather filter, because the ones I have now aren't waterproof. So I know for a fact that's going to be $260, but I can do that myself. So it's gonna be, we're looking at honestly $9,500, closer to, we're looking at $10,000. Holy shit. So, do I regret buying this bike? This morning, when I was thinking about it, I was like, nah, I don't regret it. But now looking at this, $10,000. The Bonneville, which I showed photos of, I'll put it up again. This Bonneville, that's a, 900cc bike, looks lovely, great condition, fuel injected. That's being sold for $8,500. And here I am going to spend upwards of 10 grand on this bike. I'm shocked. I am literally shocked. I don't know how I feel about this. If at the start of all this, would I buy this bike knowing that I'll spend 10 grand on it? No. No way. Do I regret it? That's a hard one. That's a hard question because I don't think regret would be the right word. Would I do it again? Hell no. No way. I would not do it again. Knowing the things that I know now, I would not do it again. A big percentage of this price could have been avoided, and yeah. I've made some dumb mistakes and I learnt along the way. This is a year's worth of learning and working with my bike. So, do I regret it? I don't think so. I can't say that I do regret it, because it's not just buying something. It's not just like buying a product and expecting for it to work. I got into old bikes. I got into a classic vintage motorcycle knowing that it's going to take a bit of time, a bit of love, a bit of effort, and a bit of money. And I think along the way, I've learnt a lot. And I've enjoyed myself. I have learnt that I'm not the best with mechanical stuff, so best to leave that to professionals. So if someone were to ask me, do I regret buying my bike? No, I can't say yes to that. It just goes against how I feel, how I live as a person. Like I don't regret it. I wouldn't do it again, but what has happened, and I've grown from it, and it's just part of life, right? But Jesus Christ, 10,000. So with this figure in mind, I think we're gonna go outside, and I'm just gonna sit there. I'm just gonna have a look at my bike. Maybe I might take it for a ride, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna let it mull over. Just let it sink in that my bike has cost me 10 grand. Jeez. Look, it's just money, isn't it, guys? It is a big sum of money, but in the end, it's not about the cost. It's about the experience, right? And I think that's where I'm coming from. The past year, I love my bike. I love working on my bike. We've had a lot of ups and downs. I've been frustrated and angry and sad and depressed over it. But it's all part of the experience. So, 10 grand, keep that in mind. Let's head back outside and let's give the bike a bit of love. You know what, guys? There's just something that I can't describe. Every time I see this bike, maybe it's like when I see it from across the road, or once I've parked it and I'm walking away from it, it just does something for me. I don't think I can ever sell this bike for 10 grand. I don't think anyone in their right mind would buy a 400cc bike, a bike like this, for 10 grand. But at the same time, when I look at it, I'm content, I've spent a lot of money on it, but I've also spent a lot of time and I've made a lot of memories with it. I think it's time that we spend a bit more time with the bike instead of spending time on the bike. So let's just go out and enjoy the ride. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do now. I just got back from work. I was going to do a bit more work, but I'm just looking at it and it just wants to be ridden. So I think I might take it out for a nice scenic ride, and we might grab a coffee or something. And yeah, let's just enjoy the ride. This bike is far from perfect, and you could definitely get a bigger, faster, newer, and overall better performing bike for 10 grand. That is for certain. As I'm riding through the twisties, I can feel these imperfections. There is a little flat spot at around quarter throttle. The rear brakes are definitely worn out, and the throttle is a bit sloppy and could be adjusted. Nothing is perfect, and being satisfied, I believe, is a choice. It's a perspective. I could fixate on the negatives and chase perfection, but right now I'm content. It is a cold day in Melbourne and the sun is behind the clouds. The road is slightly wet and the car in front of me is kind of slow. But hey, I'm out here in the ranges right now, living in the moment and riding this ride with the bike that I have spent countless hours with, building an intimate relationship. There are always better bikes and cheaper rides, for sure. But this is my bike, and I'm choosing to be satisfied and to enjoy the ride. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.